We are doing something called Conversations on a Bench. We're one of 70 missions around the country that have committed to 24 hours on a bench, having conversations with people around the issues of homelessness, addiction, and mental illness. And so we invited a number of people, and one of the people early on the list was Sherri from Northern Valley. And so before we get into the topic, there's a big event happening today.
Yes, there is.
So I was almost surprised that you signed up to come and talk.
I appreciate it.
So you are a finalist for what?
It's for the Athena Leadership Award, which is in its 40th year. In Wausau, and so it's an opportunity for the Chamber and the community to kind of recognize the work that women in leadership do in this community, and there's some great nominees, so
Okay,
I'm excited
good.
for it.
So I just want to go on record publicly that I feel that you should win that award. But that's probably because I haven't looked at the list of names. So
There's some good
I don't
people
know
there.
who. So if I know somebody else on the list, I'm sorry, but she's right here, and I believe you would be a good candidate.
Thank you.
To win that.
Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
So we did have a chance to talk with Kristen from Northern
Yep.
Valley. So I want to talk a little bit about Northern Valley, but
Sure.
then I know you want to talk a little bit more about the continuum of care.
Yep.
And helping people understand that and how
Yeah.
that works, which
Yeah.
is good because it was very confusing to me when I was first trying to figure what that is. So first
Yeah.
of all, and we mentioned earlier that we have a collaboration with Northern Valley where our guys in our vocational track get their first back to work experience with you guys, and that's been a great collaboration, and we're very thankful for that. But why don't you give us a little more insight into what Northern Valley is? Because I know many times you told me, well, we're a social enterprise. All right?
Right.
You had explained to me what a social enterprise was. So I'm sure there's people in our audience that will need to know what
Yeah,
social
thank you. Yeah. So Northern Valley, it's an employment social enterprise. There are a lot of different types of social enterprises, and typically they're organizations, for-profit and non-for-profit, that really have a mission to do good. And it can be recycling. It can be helping people do different things in different countries. The social enterprise piece of it is really, they're designed to have some kind of revenue that then they give to other meaningful causes. And so, and it's a different way at looking at how we can best use our economy to support people who have needs. And so, in our case, in Wausau, we are an employment social enterprise. So our mission is to make sure that anybody that wants a job has a job. And what that means is that anybody with obstacles to employment who may have been turned down because they had some previously incarcerated, or they may have had they have a current mental illness that is they're struggling through, or they have had an addiction, or they're currently in an addiction, or they have a developmental disability, or they have some physical disabilities. They may not speak English. And so for us, it's really working with people who have obstacles to employment, giving them that chance to really work through whatever's going on in their lives, but also through the dignity of work. And so I think that that's a real key piece that oftentimes people who have struggles really struggle. They may never had the opportunity, or they've not have successful opportunities in employment. And all of us find dignity in that. And we, think of not being able to go to work because of whatever's going on in your life, and how that can really wear on you and make it tough because you don't fit into what the rest of our society expects. So we give people that opportunity. Right now, we are actually hiring, so that's a good thing to know. And we do. It's all word of mouth. Basically, we have, right now we have a lot of folks from Bridge Street, but we have 155 employees. And of those, 80% of those have some kind of obstacle to work. And they're word of mouth, so when we tell the people that work there that we're hiring, we typically get people who are currently homeless, currently in addiction, or they have gone through recovery, they have some other physical disabilities. It's just really easy for us to get employees. When I talk to other companies, they're like, what the heck? And it's like, because of what Kristen shared with you, right? So we also, the social part of our enterprise, we do things. We are a $3 million company. Our primary customer is Greenheck, and we do subcontract work. So they give us like sub-assemblies, and then they take that and then they put it on their great product and they ship it out. So it's really good for us. We've got 12 different employers that provide contract work for us. Just like any other business, we have high quality, speedy delivery, really good turnaround time. Just a lot of reasons companies would want to use our service to do that. And the people that we have doing that are those that have obstacles. So that's our enterprise. The social part is what Kristen talked about. Because we know that people struggle, we have a couple of case managers who really are kind of global. Like they do with whatever. Somebody comes in front of them and they say, hey, I have a need here. Can you help? Typically we can help. So it's not as a lot of places, and we've talked about that, a lot of other places who are tied to other funding often have kind of their limits. And because we are an employment social enterprise, we are fully self-funded. So we do not get any federal, state, local grants. It is basically everything. Everything that gets made there and gets sold through us comes right back in to provide that support. So that gives us a lot of flexibility. It's great.
Kristen gave me a staggering number that I want it to be repeated. Because I had brought up the subject that people are often surprised when they hear that people staying in shelter, there was like, many of them actually are employed, and then she shared the numbers of that some of them were employed with you, and she shared the number that were unhoused, and now the number that weren't unhoused anymore. Could you share those numbers again?
So I want to make sure, because Kristen's much closer right now to it, the most recent information I have, because we actually have a dashboard, looked at it. So 38 people have gotten housed since January through us. Gotten it and maintained it. And I think it's the key, right? Because we are able to, somebody may not fit in the place that they got that place in, that they were living in. And so their landlords ask them to leave. May not be an eviction, but just really wants that person out of that setting. And the person would be better off out of the setting. So we help them find a new place before that gets to that point so that they can stay housed. And so it is really, we can do all different kinds of things to help people obtain and sustain their housing as long as they're employed with us, because again, it gives us the opportunity to connect. It also gives landlords the confidence that there's going to be a paycheck, and so landlords are much more less hesitant to help us out and get people housing.
So okay, well, let's transition to that broader continuum of care. If you can really share how that, especially as it's benefiting people who are unhoused.
Yes, and that is actually the only thing it does.
Okay.
So that works out pretty good. So, and I wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of the folks who are coming in are going to be talking about the services that are provided and how those activities can help people that are unhoused. But I think that another avenue of that is, how do those things get funded? And there's a variety of ways. Churches donate quite a bit of support. You guys have some really good fundraising activities. We have a social enterprise. But there are other ways to do that. And in our federal government, the federal government, Housing and Urban Development, distributes the money to help people who are unhoused through systems. And it distributes that to the state, and the state has to have a continuum of care. And that is just a way of distributing the money locally. In our state, we have the balance of state continuum of care, and that's what we do.
Good. So help people define that.
Yes.
What does balance of state
Yes.
mean? What does continuum of care mean?
Yeah. So balance of state is that there are, I believe, 3 continuum of cares, which is really a coalition of community partners that are working to address and provide supports through people who are unhoused. And so that's the group of people that each continuum has. Ours is the balance of state. There's one in Madison and one in Milwaukee. So Madison is a continuum. Milwaukee is a continuum, and then the balance of state is the one we in Wausau and our community
Does
is
everybody
in.
get that? You have large community, you have another community, but then those funds just can't go to those two big communities. It gets balanced throughout the state. Did I get that?
Excellent.
All right.
You got it. Yes,
right.
you got it. So it's important as people think about, well, why don't we just X, Y, Z? And we don't X, Y, Z because money is tight. And then also because there are some constraints with the money that comes from down from the federal government. There's a lot of documentation, there's a lot of reporting requirements, and that can bog a small organization down. But it also has the state level, and I sit on the state board, so we see lots of opportunities and communities who are working hard to build good and strong coalitions to bring new supports into their community. So in our community, for example, we have North Central Wisconsin Continuum of Care. It's 3 counties. There is a committee, group of, I want to say 40 or 50 people. And we get together quarterly to share what we're each doing so we stay on track of that. But then also we get information about new grant opportunities that are coming along. And we can also apply for that. Or, for example, at the state level right now, there's conversation and efforts to bring recuperation centers to the community. Wausau is one of those that is talking about it, and that gives people who are homeless and not have been in the hospital and need to be released but still need special care. Releasing them back to a warming center or to the streets is not effective.
And even we found in our program is a person really needs to be ambulatory.
Yes.
We don't have appropriate staffing or even facilities that we could take someone who needs that kind of care. So often we're saying, we want to help you, but I'm not sure if we can.
Right.
So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, and we are too. And, that's going to take a big community effort with healthcare providers and businesses and community partners, and to really figure out how that can work effectively. It is very successful. Milwaukee is adding 3 more this year. Madison has 1, and then La Crosse is looking at it. So it really gives people who we've had situations at Northern Valley where we've had an employee who's homeless, ended up hospitalized, and then the hospital needed to discharge him because he wasn't medically necessary for hospital level of care, and they asked us if we could help. Well, we couldn't help. We couldn't help. It's a medical need. And so really struggled to find a place for him where he would be able to be off of his feet as much as he needed to be to heal what was going on. And so that's a great example. We've had a couple of folks who have come through who really could have used like a respite or recuperation center, and it's just not available.
Yeah. It's amazing, too, how many calls we get from emergency rooms, saying, oh, we don't know where to send this person.
Yeah.
And they're, I know when I've come out of emergency rooms, I need help.
Yeah.
Right. And so it is. So I'm excited to hear that is a possibility.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how close are we?
We are just at the beginning of the discussions. And so, we've got a couple of healthcare providers that we've reached out to, and we've gotten, we've brought it up. We'll be presenting something at the coalition meeting. So we're just at the start here in the area here at the state level, though. Like I said, Milwaukee has already added 3 more. La Crosse is pretty close to adding another. So, where there's good energy in the community, and really people that are understanding, this is really a benefit for healthcare, because then you're not going to have people stopping back into the emergency department. They're not going to have to be rehospitalized. And so it's a really good benefit. It's a really good benefit. And, I think the key piece when I work with folks that are unhoused is that oftentimes for us, we are their support. We are a little bit like their family, because they get out of the hospital and there isn't anybody else there. There's no place to go, So if they're employed with us, it's like, okay, you got a place to come, you can do the work, and we can provide that wraparound support and help. And if you need some things outside of that, we can make sure we can find them. So I think that is the biggest gap I find in working with people who are homeless, is just the lack of connection. They just don't have it. And that can be lonely, and it can be, you can get anxious, and it's just sad.
That lack of connection. So when I was in Cleveland, we had 3 shelters. And my men's shelter director came up with a word, I think. He would call it disaffiliation.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
he said, well, homelessness is really disaffiliation is the proper way to do it. And when he first started saying that, we're like, oh, dis a what? But
Yeah.
to really understand what that is that basically someone has burned through relationships potentially, or has no fault of their own lost those relationships, but they're not connected to people,
Yeah.
or at least to healthy people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they're all on their own. So I mean, I'll repeat this for the audience too, is sitting on this bench for 24 hours, we're not trying to recreate homelessness, because
Right.
it's not the same. It's going to be a little bit inconvenient for me, but I'm not disaffiliated. All right.
Right.
I have permission to enter the church.
Yeah.
I have people that will bring me food and water. I have a whole crew here. They're a little distracted now with their own food, but if I have a need, they'll take care of me.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on a bench, but I'm not disaffiliated.
Right.
But so many of the people that we experience in our outreach center, and then ultimately, hopefully, we can get into our recovery centers, are people who they've lost that connection, at least with healthy people in their lives, and it takes hard work to get them back into those healthy relationships. But that's the key,
Yes.
is to get them back into
Yeah.
relationship with people, with society,
Yeah. And in our case, with work.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems so cavalier to say, we have the opportunity to have a place to go and people that we can spend time with every day who have like-minded missions, and we can bounce ideas off of and just grow together. And that doesn't come if you don't have affiliation, if you don't have work, if you don't have a church, those things that a lot of us take for granted and appreciate, but not necessarily to the full extent that it's in our lives. Those are missing. I think one of the things that I hit me the hardest, we up until September, we used to provide van transportation from the last bus stop to our place. In September, the city picked up and stepped up, and now we have a bus coming to Northern Valley. Yeah, I was so proud of them and so excited about that. Yeah, so it's really helped. But during that, I was one of the van drivers, and it was around Thanksgiving, and usually just with my coworkers, I'm like, hey, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Blah, 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 blah. I'm in the van, and I realized I'm not going to ask that question, because the majority of the people were going to be on the streets, and they would be able to take advantage of the free meals and things like that, but it's not the same.
Oh, no, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and so you realize how much you have to be grateful for, and how much you can actually support and help people. Yeah, help people.
You appreciate those things, but you're right. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same.
So, okay, so let's. We both serve on the Housing Task Force.
Yes.
And as of yet today, it hasn't got kind of brought up the Housing Task Force. And so can you maybe just let our audience really know, well, what is the Housing Task Force?
Yeah.
And what's happening through it?
Sure. So that's a good question. And the Housing Task Force, there used to be a housing group, and they were kind of big. And then there was a decision, and also the continuum of care came in, and they separated out so that the continuum of care, and I forgot to mention that there's also a waiting list for some of the housing supports. And so there is a coordinated entry point that is run through the continuum of care. And so a lot of the agencies, the people you just had, the people that, I think that CPC is, and then CW Solutions, a lot of the folks you'll have here are places where people can start and say, I need help. And then that gets into a list of folks, and there's a selection process. And so anyways, so that's through the continuum of care. The Housing Task Force grew out of those people that were looking more for local support, local action. And so the United Way now manages the Housing Task Force in Wausau area, and got some key leaders decision makers on there, great organizational leadership too through, the community organizations, I represent the state, but the county, the city, aldermen, county reps, and then agencies who all get together, and we kind of work through the process of what is the key things that we see and we've heard, and through the analysis understand to be the issues of the day right now. And then through our process, we've established what are our next steps. So, and a great outcome of that was was Tracy's position here. You're going to be talking with her next, I think. Yeah. And so, Tracy's position with the police, that kind of got started from there, the idea, and then brought forward and talked about, and went to the city, and so that process was kind of initiated and shepherded through with the housing task force. What is the emergency shelter, the cold weather. Yes, the community on call was another one where that information was brought forward. You stepped up, Tracy stepped up, and that really came to understand what that would look like, and then really see what kind of support was needed. So it's really helping to bring the issues of homelessness, and not just homelessness, but just inadequate housing. I mean, the broader conversation of safe housing also it's countywide, so it's a big conversation, and it's nice to have the key leaders there so they can come to understand what it looks and what it takes, because it isn't just you and me sitting on a bench.
That's right.
And so that's what the Housing Task Force is about.
Yeah, I've enjoyed being on there because it has been an action group.
Yes.
And so we may talk a little more of that later, kind of in the 24 hours. But as we mentioned kind of earlier, yes, there's a housing need in Wausau. Yes, there's a need to care for people who are unhoused. But yes, there are a lot of things happening already in the community. You've just heard from a social enterprise whose house 38 people took them from the streets to permanent housing. All right? And there's others in the community, and the mission, and we're seeing results from men who graduate our program who end up established back in the community and functioning. So those things are happening. So we want to make sure that our audience is, yes, there's a need. Yes, we need to take action. We need to be compassionate. We need to understand. We need to respond and do things. But we also need to celebrate the things that are happening in our community and get our support behind that. So let's say if somebody just in the community, they like, wow, this social enterprise thing is really neat. I like it. How do they help you do what you do?
Do what we do. So there's a couple of ways. So one of the things, I don't know if Kristen mentioned, our bicycle program.
Quickly, she did,
okay. Yeah, so we have a couple of folks who take donated bikes, and then they fix them up, and then they get given out. A lot of people at our place use them. We also support the Marty bus, and any agency that needs to have, somebody needs a bike to get to and from wherever they're going. So that's a great volunteer program.
So are you looking for people to fix the bikes, or are you looking for people to give the bikes?
So right now we're looking for people to give the bikes.
Okay.
And there are two volunteers that fix the bikes. And I know they've got a couple of people on the list right now that are also looking to help. I think we're going to be looking at having a spring clinic where people learn how to fix bikes themselves. And so really train people to do that too. So please reach out if you're interested in helping with that.
So if you have extra bicycles, I'm assuming ones that work really good are preferred in your garage, that might be a way that they
would
can
be a
help
good one.
The people in your program.
You bet. That would be great. We do provide a lunch. During the lunch, it's really just frozen food that's pre-cooked, and then we put it so that it can be heated up, and people can use that, because people who are homeless that don't have transportation can't leave from where we are, which is just at the beginning of the industrial park, and come down to your meals, right?
So we're talking about break time at work. Lunch.
It's
basically.
lunch. Yes. So there's that, and
are you looking for groups to bring lunch, or people
if
to
people are
stuff?
interested in that, donate stuff. If they are interested in that, to please reach out to me. because we don't have a kitchen, a full kitchen, we aren't able to like create and make things there. So, but we do, we heat up the frozen product. But yes, we're always looking for those kinds of supports, hygiene products, because we are going to be adding a shower and washer and dryer. So we'll be looking for those kinds of things. And so we have some storage areas so people can store their items. But we'll need those kind of basic household stuff.
And you're looking for employees.
Yes.
So if you have someone with challenges to employment, that wants to get back into the workforce, they should reach out to Northern Valley about employment.
It is so true.
Just don't take any of the spaces that we need for Bridge Street Mission. No, I'm just kidding. You have needs.
Yeah, we do. And we so far this month, I believe we've hired 6. We have 9 more on the list. So the other piece that people can help with is if you work at a place where there is like sub-assembly work where you're putting 2 things together before it goes on the next thing, or if you happen to own one or run one, or if you're finding a struggle in finding your own employees, we really want to expand our subcontract work, because when we do that, we are able to provide more work. And we are able to help more people. And so it is a really nice circle, a good opportunity for organizations and for companies to say, hey, this is a great place. Also for the community commitment, but also because we do good work. So it's a good win-win.
Yeah, so let's make sure we're clear on that. So what kinds of so you're saying if somebody... Well, explain how
what
it
that
works
is.
with Green Heck.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help someone envision how it...
Yeah, so Green Heck is, I just want to say it's 80% of our revenue, because they've been with us since we started in 1965. So as they've grown, we've grown. It's been great. And they are excellent partners, excellent partners, a really strong team. And so for us, we have over 4,000 parts that we make for Green Heck. And one of them would be, an example might be, this is not one of the ones for Green Heck, but you could all relate to it. In your car, you will see a bundle of wires. And those wires will go, some of them will go over to this little plug, and some of them will go over to that little plug. That's called a wire harness. So we do those. And so it's a pretty technical thing to do. So we have some high technical things. We do thermostat and what they call drop and drive, so motors that drop in and drive things, all the way down to we take 2 screws and put it in a pack, and we'll seal that pack. So it's from packaging to wires. We have insulation cutting. We do some other light assembly where we have 4 pieces of product that we put together to make the new thing that can be attached to whatever they're doing with the next step of it. So there's a wide variety of skills that we have. Maple Ridge Farms is an example. They just started with us again, and we do some light packaging for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's a wide variety of stuff.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sherri.
Thank you.
That's outstanding.
You bet.
I appreciate you coming here, and go win the award.
Thank you for bringing that
Do
up.
people vote?
No,
vote for Sherri.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for doing this.
All right.
It.
Thank you,
Yes.
Sherri. All right.